is risk adverse at using heritage protection orders, and they're not the only agency to do so. However, I do believe utilising the process could achieve a good outcome. Then there's the position of the council itself, which has concerned me. How tenable is it that the council, rightly or wrongly, and wrongly, most wrongly in this case, signed the death warrant for this beautiful old building a year ago? How tenable is it to go back now and say, well, we've changed our minds? So it is not easy, is it? And the council would be criticised for doing that, for being inconsistent. But we're looking at a moral issue here, and that is it morally better to be consistent and avoid being criticised for being inconsistent? Or is it morally better to say, well, we got that wrong, and council officers, in all honesty, would admit that they got it wrong, and that it should have been notified?
Councillor, can we just... I'm letting you speak because you are... I think we've only got 2 people who speak against. We'd just like to be clear. We have not accepted the fact that people got it wrong. The point
I'm saying, listen, I don't want to be... I'm saying that we got it wrong.
This is for a matter of public record, and it was quite clearly stated that that's not so.
I'm sorry, councillors admitted... sorry, councillor, officers have admitted to me that they got it wrong. So I'm just trying to be honest with everyone here so we can lay the facts out on the table.
No, councillor, I'm actually going to request that you stick to the facts, and it's very clear that the staff have not admitted this is wrong.
Are you suggesting I'm not telling the truth?
Yes. I'm suggesting
because I am telling the truth.
That we stick to the facts as they've been explained.
These are the facts, and I've said it, and I will not withdraw it. Now let me move on.
That would be a good thing to do.
Thank you. Because of the delay, and it is late, as Councillor Brewer has pointed out, a contract has been signed and probably work has even started. But I'll remind council members of one of our noble ancestors, Dove Meyer Robinson, who fought against the scheme to build a sewage plant on Browns Island for many, many years. And finally, lo and behold, he found himself as chairman of the Auckland Metropolitan Drainage Board and then mayor. And what did he do? The bulldozers, the contract had long been signed. The bulldozers were at work, and he tore up the contract and stopped that and came up with something that was a whole lot better and saved Browns Island and the Hauraki Gulf. So it's never too late. And that is why, Madam Chair, we have been approached by concerned members of the community. We have been requested by the Heritage Advisory Panel, which council has appointed me to chair, to take a certain course of action, and therefore I cannot vote for the recommendation. Thank you.
Councillor Watson.
Thank you. Councillor Brooke quite rightly pointed to the need to be proactive in instances such as this, but it's hard to be proactive when you don't know what's going on, and very clearly most of the key players in this haven't known what's been going on, or not until very, very late in the piece, and I imagine a number of them would have been discouraged at that point because it was so far advanced, and they were getting the same sort of explanations that we're getting here today as councillors. And the same goes for scheduling. Clearly, if people had realised that this building wasn't scheduled, I'd imagine there'd have been a tsunami of people putting in applications for it to be scheduled. We've had the, clear statement. It is a heritage building, and the choice we are faced with is to sort of, take the bleakest view of all the financial cost and ramifications for council, or to let this wonderful building be destroyed. And I can think of a previous circumstance where the Rodney Council was faced with a situation similar to that, and where they had a heritage church that again hadn't been scheduled, and part of the development was to take out the heritage church, which was over 100 years old, and have this wonderful big new building put in place. And that had, again, there was a few people in the community found out about it later in the piece. They opposed it, put up quite a sterling argument in the council, and the commissioners, only in this case, one of whom was an architect, recognised a better outcome that would involve a different type of new building and integration of the old building, which was hugely against the wishes of the congregation, I might add, at that time. However, as things transpired, that was exactly what happened. They didn't proceed with the new, up-to-date development that was proposed. They integrated the old church, it was preserved, it was combined with the new building, and the congregation completely turned around. Now I think it's the best thing that's ever happened. Now, the circumstances weren't exactly the same as this, but it was the same sort of principle, and the net result was that the heritage building was preserved. The only way this building is going to be preserved if we vote for that heritage order, and in that respect I'm inclined to agree with Mr. Brown, who made the comment that he found that it was incomprehensible that a building of this nature and so key to the school's overall aesthetic would be destroyed. I went out there to have a look, but to actually go on this site and saw the fences up for the imminent demolition, and I just couldn't believe that anyone in this day and age, and especially a school like King's School, would contemplate destroying something that was so sort of iconic and central to the tradition and everything else that goes with a preparatory school such as that. And certainly we know in this day and age the ability to create modern environment, especially in a building like this where you have north-facing large windows and all the other aesthetic additions, would not be hard to do. That's, I guess we'd say, is a decision of the school to make, that they make that for whatever reason, though it has been suggested that some of the reasons aren't all that persuasive in the clear light of day. But as a council, we certainly have a clear choice. We either let the building get bowled, destroyed, and you only have to look at the pictures. You don't have to look at the tea cloth for that. Just look at the pictures of what you're allowing to be bowled over. And I think people in this instance would agree with Councillor Lee that they would expect the council to do all it can, or all it can to preserve this, and perhaps get an outcome that preserves the heritage, the quickly disappearing heritage of parts of Auckland, in some sort of negotiation that would inevitably flow from a vote against the demolition order, which is the way I'm looking at it. So I'd urge people to look at the building and vote to do all they can to retain it.
Okay, thank you. Final speaker? None? No? Oh, Councillor Casey.
Yeah,
Then we'll put the recommendation straight after that.
I'll be very quick. Had this been publicly notified, this debate would have taken place and all the parties would have been in the room, and there may have been a very, very different result. And I know that the hearings panel reserves the right at any time to decide to notify or not. I know that. And I think we need to look at our system whereby an application as important as this for Auckland, because it obviously is, our advisory panel are telling us so, can slip through the cracks and end up in non-notified. And this is what we have today, is the last gasp effort by people who really care about this building, asking this council, it's all they've got left. And so I will not be supporting the recommendations of staff, like my colleague Councillor Watson and Councillor Lee, and support the ongoing further investigation into the heritage value of this building. If the heritage advisory panel tell us that we should be doing this, then that's why we set them up. So I'm happy to support it. But Madam Chair, if there's something we can do about our public notification process, then please can we look at it?
So I'm just, we're going to move straight to the vote after this. Just to, by clarification, our chair of the hearings, the decision to notify or not notify, it's my understanding,
Wasn't
Councillor
made
Cooper,
by,
that these
no,
were-
it was given to the Commissioner to make,
Indeed.
Madam Chair. It's
Indeed.
very rare that the Hearings Committee does that. And last year we did that and we spent upwards of $100,000 because we lost a judicial review. The judge found that we'd made an unwise decision. So it's something we leave to the independent commissioners who don't have any bias at all. They just look at the merits of the case. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
and I think
you know,
the reality, this is will be a discussion, I think, to raise at a different meeting. The notification or non-notification is done by commissioners, those decisions, and there should not be a presumption that notification will automatically deliver a different outcome.
And just,
If the-
Madam Chair, can I just clarify, and I suppose I'll be closing the debate, is that under the RMA there is a notification decision
The
tree
thresholds.
around how that works. It's not on a whim. It's actually looked at to say what are the triggers, and if the triggers are there under those rules, that's what triggers notification.
Well, the St Luke's decision
So,
was a
Madam Chair,
disgrace.
Councillors, we're not.
Absolutely.
and the same process was used in the St Luke's decision,
Absolute
Madam Chair.
disgrace.
Okay.
that's why the
Let's
system
not,
needs fixing.
councillors, and this council is whether we like it
the
or
law.
not and disagree or not, we're a creature of statute and we need to operate within the Resource Management Act. And often people don't agree with the outcomes.
In the High
but-
Court.
And let's now move to the division, as I presume. Well, is it a division?
No,
Hasn't
don't
been
even
called
ask,
for.
don't
Why
even
don't we
mention
vote
it.
for
Of course
all
it'll be a
those
division.
in
Of course it will
favour? Please say aye.
Aye.
Against?
No.
Recorded.
Have a division,
Recorded.
please.
Oh, well, councillor Wood has called for a division. I presume there would be one. Councillor. Councillor Tam.
Councillor Nye? Councillor Brewer?
For.
Councillor Casey?
No.
Councillor Cashmore?
Yes.
Councillor Clyde?
Yes.
Councillor Cooper?
Yes.
Councillor Darby?
For.
Councillor Filipina?
For.
Councillor Fletcher?
No.
Councillor Crum?
Or
Councillor Lee?
No.
Member Namani?
no.
Councillor Penrose?
Yes.
Councillor Stewart?
Yes.
Member Taipari?
No.
Councillor Watson?
No.
Councillor Wood?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hulse?
Aye.
It's carried by 11 votes to 7.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the discussion and thank you, Noel and team. So we'll move on to our final item